Good morning, everyone. This is the weekly market breakdown video, and this is where I break down QQQ, SPY, and a couple of other things that I'm looking at going forward this week. And let's get started. So I'm looking at QQQ on the daily time frame. So as long as the bulls are holding their uptrend, there is no red flag for the bulls. It may seem like we have ran up a lot, and the bears are just trying to short every pop. And so far, we are getting nothing out of that if you're a bear, because every sell off has been bought so far. You can see the trend here. We made a daily higher low right there, and then we just confirmed the continuation of the daily uptrend. And right now, we are still into the uptrend. There's no red flags on the chart whatsoever, but we are starting to see a little bit of a slowdown on the buying. You can see the sideways action right here. So I'm going to zoom into the 4-hour chart, and I'm starting to see a megaphone pattern, which is the pattern I hate the most because you get stopped out both ways. Give me a second here. All right, so you can see this teal looking line here, and it's roughly, where's the support? Right there. All right, so this is the megaphone pattern. Looks exactly like a megaphone. And the reason why people get stopped out is because traders like to trade set their stop loss above the prior high or the prior lows. So if we get something like this, we come down here and pop up. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to short right here, and I'm going to set my stop loss right above that prior high. And then we just chop up, boom, we hit the new high, but then there's no more follow through. And now we hit a new low. And buyers that bought down here, that set a stop loss underneath the prior lows also get stopped out. So both bears and bulls get stopped out both ways. And that's why it's called like a megaphone pattern. It just goes higher and then with no follow through, and it goes lower with no follow through. So far, that's what I'm seeing on the 4-hour time frame. So we'll see if it keeps playing out or not. It's been playing out since Wednesday. Actually, no, last Wednesday. So it's been April 5th. So that's been a week and a half. Yeah. And the next resistance I'm seeing is if pretty much just prior highs for QQQ. If bulls can get above that, then it'll be a continuation of the daily uptrend, and there's no red flags for the bulls at all right now. So we got to be cautious of that, even though the narrative of the economic and everything is bearish, because there's a lot of talks about recessions, and even the Fed minutes last week showed that they are saying there's going to be a confirmed mild recession. Usually, if they say something like that, for me personally, if they say something is a mild recession, it's going to be probably a pretty bad one. And the economy does not reflect stock market, so the stock market is also forward looking. So currently, this pump is pretty how do you call it, predictable. So they usually pump it before they wanted to drop it. So we'll have to see. And most players right now are short in the market for the past couple of weeks. That's one of the reasons why they might want to um, stop people out before dropping the market. But anything goes. And as well as I'm going to take a look at the SPY. So right now, SPY is also very healthy as well on the chart. You can see right now there is no red flags on this uptrend at the moment. We did get a bull flag confirmed, and with not a lot of follow through on Friday, but it's still decent on the chart. There's no red flags at the moment. And the next resistance I'll be looking at is this resistance zone right here, 418 and 415. If we can get over that, it's just continuation of the uptrend. You can see back here as well, we couldn't get over it. And there's this cluster of used to be a support. Now this becomes a resistance. So we'll see if SPY can actually follow through for the bulls and get through that. If not, then maybe bears will start getting some actions. But as for now, there is no bears in the market at the moment. We got a couple of one red days here and there, but that's always it. There's always no follow through from the bears, and you can see a dip, and then right after the dip, everything gets bought up. And the reason I am still in shorting the semiconductor sector. Wait, give me a second here. So this is the semiconductor sector, SOXX, is because it's relatively a lot weaker than SPY and QQQ. So semiconductor sector is the growth name. So usually growth leads us out of the bottom, but they also lead us into a drop. So you can see back here in October, semiconductor sector led us out of the bottom, and it's already up 55%. And Nvidia, you can see, is probably already up 155%, which is in the semiconductor sector. So the reason I'm shorting is because you can see this relative weakness. It's been dropping and bouncing a lot less than QQQ. So it's dropping more than QQQ, but it's bouncing less when it bounces. So I will show you guys a relative chart here. SOXX divided by QQQ, and shows the relative weakness and strength. So you can see when QQQ was dropping, SOXX was dropping way more. You can see this move down. And when we bounced that one day, it only bounced, it bounced more that day because you see the green candle. But then we had more follow through from the chart again. So you can see the bears are actually playing off of this ratio chart from SOXX versus QQQ. That's a good sign. This was actually a support back here, but now we broke it, retested, and then now we're having more follow through. So that's the reason I'm still holding the semiconductor short. I am in SOXS, which is a 3x leverage ETF of the SOXX. You can see let me zoom in so it's easier to see for you guys. So if SOXX drops 1%, this goes up 3%. So from this move to this move is a 20% move. And if I go to the SOXX chart, a second here, SOXX. And from that move, top to the drop was roughly a 6% move. And you can see we made a 20% gain. So just from that little move there, pretty much made my best week in trading. Not this week, the prior week, the week that we had 4 days. So I was up quite a bit, almost 60, roughly 60 grand just from that week. And that's when, and I sold it there, and I re-added on the bounce a little bit too early. Let me go to zoom in real quick. Okay, so I sold it on the Thursday of that week after this drop, and I re-added roughly around this level. It's a little bit early, but I'm still in the green right now. So I had to hold this for, I was a little bit red once it bounced a little bit more. I added like roughly around here due to this cluster of area. And now we drop back down here. So, and I'm back in the green again. So I'm still holding into next week. And we are positioned really well for the semiconductor short if QQQ decides to drop. So let's say where's QQQ? Let's say QQQ was like, you know what, I'm going to have another leg up before I go down, right? So something like this. See this sideways action? And they're like, all right, we're going to bring another leg up. And then, so before we consolidate more, that's what happened. So if QQQ decides to, break resistance and go another leg up and retest this prior high right here, see the August high that we had in the summer last year, this area, if they decide to retest that area, then semiconductor is not going to drop. If QQQ decides to move up another 3%, semiconductor will likely move up back to this prior high as well. So we'll see if the broader market decides to drop or go up. We'll know that Monday, and futures will open in 4 hours. And right now the market is also pricing in a 70% of a rate hike in May. So it was priced in only 50-50 just about 2 weeks ago. So market hasn't really priced that in yet. So we'll have to see that as well. And market is also pricing in a probability of rate cuts in September, while Jerome said in his meetings that there will be no cuts this year. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between markets and what's actually going to happen. So we don't know if that's actually going to happen. Usually Jerome does what the probability says. So if it's a 78%, then usually he just hikes, and he won't decide not to hike. He usually just goes with this chart. So we'll see if he goes with the chart or he ends up not cutting at all. But as of now, that's going to be in September, so it's still really far away. And next week kicks off earnings as well. So earnings, you can see we have Netflix on Tuesday. So that's the text that we're looking at. And a lot of banks started earnings on Friday. And we'll have to see more banks coming in. And the most important ones I'm looking at will be Netflix, Tesla, and Taiwan Semiconductor, because they'll give us a little bit of an insight into the big techs next week, the following week of April. That'll be Microsoft reporting on the 25th. Those will be really key for the market. If they don't do well, they're the biggest weight on QQQ. They'll just drag everything down. And yeah, it's going to be the most important earnings week. Not this coming week, but the next following week will be the most important one. And as of now, I will update you guys next week, and I will see you guys around. And if there's any questions, let me know. Feel free to subscribe. I update markets daily, and